Hi, friends in US, friends in India. Good evening. Good to see you all. Who wants to start off the discussions? Is it working so far? We talked about the toughest concepts already in the first 2 weeks. How to smile, how to be grateful. Today comes the easy part, how to eat right. So that's actually much easier. So tell me, in the last couple of weeks, if you tried some of these basic but profound subconscious level transformations. Anyone wishes to take a minute to share your challenges or your successes or your novel tools? Because everybody, it may be a little different. How are we trying to do self-inquiry by being a little more connected and grateful and trying to be optimistic through smile? If anyone is able to unmute yourself, then you can directly talk. Otherwise, I think as you come in, it mutes everybody, which I think is easier for the system. Hi, Claudia.
Hi there. I just saw you last Friday with my husband, and I thought, well, trying to smile, and I mean, that was the only thing. I thought, okay, but it's more, I have to think of something to smile about. And I found that just smiling, I could not do. I mean, I
Logical mind will find reasons, and that's all the better. If we can find things around us that make us smile, then we are connected even deeper. So I'm glad you're trying it. What we're going to learn today about eating right will only make us smile more. You'll be surprised how much more once we go through today's session, Claudia. Thanks for joining us.
Morning.
Good morning, Angela.
So one thing I do when my mood doesn't really strike me as being happy is music. Sometimes music can help shift my mood, and then it's easier to smile and be grateful.
Definitely. Music can really take us to a much, much deeper level. So glad you brought that up.
Well, right now, I can certainly smile because my next door neighbor and my son-in-law both have COVID, and I don't. And that's something to smile about.
I asked my patients all the time, what are you most grateful for? And people say for golfing, for having my grandchild next Wednesday at home to spend time with my granddaughter, or whatever specific thing that comes to their mind. But now in this pandemic, many people, I would say majority, just look me in the eye and say, doctor, I'm grateful just to be alive. So this is something that the virus is teaching us as a human race, that nothing can be taken for granted, no matter what our health or wealth or whatever situation or work. This virus can get anywhere, and it's humbled us as a human race. That's how I feel. And in a way, it is good that we perceive life deeper due to the pandemic. So that is helping us.
I might add that whenever I go out, I wear a mask. So the only way I can smile is with my eyes, maybe. I do not wear it at home, so I can smile at my husband, but smiling otherwise is difficult. And one thing I might add, I read a little online article about how to look good on Zoom. And one of the things it said was you should smile when you're on Zoom. If you know, or at least keep your mouth edges up so it looks like you're smirking or smiling, and that will encourage other Zoom viewers to listen to you.
Very true. In fact, the mask helps me smile more. Because otherwise people are wondering, what is this guy going around the hospital smiling? But now I can be in patient care areas and still smiling inside that mask. So the smile is good to share with others, but it's very good for us first of all. So even if I'm wearing a mask, I'm fine smiling if I can. And it's not, the important thing is once you do it for a little bit, maybe a few days, few weeks, it will become your nature. Your face will become by nature smiling, and you'll catch yourself, wow, what am I smiling for? Maybe there's no reason, or I have to do something serious. The smile, you will withdraw from the smile. The smile becomes such a part of who we are. That is when the magic becomes more deeper. All of this is going to happen. It has happened for thousands of people in the last 7 years. And I'm so glad this group is directly getting involved with this program. So about 9:15, we will start the slides. So we have another 10 minutes. If anyone wishes to suggest any specific format or any quick ideas how we can make the next 6 weeks more fun, because in my mind, we do 2 sessions. One is the heartful living, and then few times in the last 5 years, we've done an advanced heartful living for people who already completed the course. Now I feel in this series, we are able to touch everything for the most part that we do in the advanced series. I believe it's because I'm getting more comfortable with the Zoom, and people here are on the go. They realize what we are trying to do, and it saves so much time. It's like me working with doctors as far as this inner journey is concerned. You're all experts. So if some people feel, Doc, I'm just coming on today, I just don't get what you're saying, I'm happy to summarize what we've done in next 2-3 minutes. But if people so far feel that they've understood all that I'm trying to do is very broad picture of consciousness, which is like the space. It is as wide as the universe. So it's not something that we can quickly finish it off, but we are hinting at where we want to be in that entire broad space of consciousness so that we can move forward in this challenging times. That's all we are trying to address, and it's worked so many years. So I'm happy to have another 5 minutes of interaction before we go on to the slides. Anyone who hasn't spoken so far?
Yes. Yes, doctor. Good morning. This is Nagu from Hiranya Medical Service. So nice to see you all here today, and I'm joining for the first time. So can you please tell me in brief about this?
The last word was, can you please tell me?
Yeah, in brief about, what is the whole thing about? Yeah.
Heartful living means Siddha self-inquiry for cardiac and metabolic wellness. So Siddha is a traditional way of medicine that's been around for at least 5,000 years. And we use just the consciousness aspect of it. We don't have the ability to prescribe Siddha medicines, but we teach how the consciousness framework can be adopted to help people look within themselves. There are hundreds of tools that I've explored over the last 10 years, but the most important tool that we are going to discuss in depth today is how hunger gratitude experience helps people regain better health, better resilience to cope with anxiety, depression, PTSD, and so many health issues, and how it can be done at no cost at your own home. That is what we're going to discuss today. The last 2 sessions, we touched upon gratitude, the scope, how every morning we want to wake up with gratitude. And last week we realized it works good, but it will work better if we try to go to sleep grateful. So there's really no limit to how much gratitude we can feel. It's only, gratitude is another word for inner happiness, or it's another word for meditation. Gratitude is another word for prayer. So those who believe in religion, they can use gratitude as a way of connecting with God. Those who are not religious, they can use it for spirituality. Those who just want health, they can still use gratitude as a way to connect deeper within themselves. So that is why I feel it is a simple but very profound concept. We don't ask people to maintain a gratitude diary on their device or a physical diary. We just ask people to experience it for some person or circumstance, or it could be a general gratitude for life itself. But feel that it's not just a thought, it's not just a feeling, it's a deeper experience of warmth that allows you to feel that energy before you even get out of the bed in the morning. And the reason we ask people to connect that level is every hour we request people to explore if they can smile 20 times. As children, all of us did 40 times. All of us did. So as a cardiologist, I'm only requesting half of that. And it can definitely be done. So both feed off each other. When you're more grateful, you'll smile more. When you smile more, you'll find your gratitude settles at a deeper level.
Okay, thank you. Got it. Very nice. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. I want to share few points.
Why don't you introduce yourself, Anu, for people
Uh,
who might not know you?
yes, sir. I am Dr. Anuradha from Chennai, India. And after listening sir's first session itself, I started mindful eating. Now, past 1.5 years, I'm following intermittent fasting and mindful eating. I realized that my quantity of food has reduced and quality of food has increased. Now I feel I'm eating quality food and minimal quantity. While eating, I'm asking myself whether this quantity is enough. That is minimal quantity. One time, sir has told he has started reducing the amount and taking only minimal quantity. From that day, I started eating the quantity which is needed for myself, for my routine work. If I'm very cautious that I should not take extra calories, and daily I'm doing exercise, either walking or yoga for 45 minutes to 1 hour. I feel very young and energetic, and I'm recommending for my students and also for my colleagues also. Those who are asking me, what is the secret of your enthusiasm and your energy? I'm telling it is intermittent fasting, and credit goes to Dr. Anand, sir. Thank you, sir. And
Thanks so
nowadays,
much.
I'm started traveling towards my inner side. And as sir told, I started feeling gratitude in the morning only, in the beginning. Now, even if I take a cup of coffee, I feel gratitude. I start thanking the people responsible for that. So the feeling is very nice. Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much, Anu. You are an inspiration for us in several ways. My wife and Anu went to the same medical school. This is in the 90s in Coimbatore, PSG. And my wife has been inspired. She's a nephrologist here in Colombia. She'll come and say hello to our group, hopefully next week. She has clinics Monday mornings. Otherwise, she'd love to join us. And Smrita Rajan is my wife, and Anu is her classmate in medical school. We've always, in the last 20 years, had Anu in very high regard because she had a very adverse life event. I don't know if she would want me to, but she's generally okay with her sharing. She lost her dad when she was a medical student, very, very young. And that shook her life. And then she came through, finished her medical school, and now she's guiding so many people in Chennai as a physician. But then she came to our first, because of the pandemic, since we moved to Zoom, she attended our first series. And that's the first time I actually knew her. Before the last 20 years, I've never met her, but I've known her by reputation as a girl who's so strong and who struggled through her medical school and then made an amazing life for herself. So we have her on very, very high regard. And when she comes and says Anand is helping her 20 years later, it only makes me more humble. And now, last couple of months ago, she sent me a flyer where she is teaching this Heartful Living as her own program. So that is even more of a pride for me when Anu is able to do these things. It is more out of experience that she's teaching, and that she wants the energy she wants to share with her community. So glad you could join us today, Anu.
Thank you, sir.
Any other quick thoughts before we get on with our program today? We have 45 people signed up today. We started on Zoom, I think, since the pandemic in 2020 sometime. So why not 100,000 people join us today? What is stopping more people from learning these simple things? The answer we may find before we finish this talk. Maybe we will get 100,000 people to listen to us 6 months from today. So we'll go ahead and get started. Any other quick thoughts before we start? Are you able to see the slide full screen?
Yeah.
Or is it part screen?
Full screen.
Full screen.
screen, sir.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
So I'll request you to mute yourself and maybe even turn off the video so that you'll get good bandwidth. So in about 20-30 minutes, we'll go through some slides and then we'll open it up back for some questions and discussions. Welcome to third session of Heartful Living. Am I eating right? What are the healthy diets, eating habits, and how do we practice hunger, gratitude, Siddha meditative fasting? So we started 2 weeks ago asking the question, who am I? Understanding gratitude. What is my potential? Figuring out how we can smile 20 times every hour despite life's challenges. And today we come to the third aspect of it, which is, am I eating right? When we connect this gratitude with lesser food intake, patients tell me magic happens. So you tell me if it happens for you in the next couple of months. My disclosures are High Life Journey, which is our website, helping people transform their life at their own time. And then Seeking Hunger is a very small book available in the US currently to help people understand how food and hunger can be used towards the inner journey. And I'm an advisor for Cardiac Wellness Institute in Chennai. And today is a new program that I'm becoming an advisor for, called Blue Earth Ventures. So that also is a new conflict, you could say, but you'll see some more reasons why all these are still part of my same vision and hope to help people find freedom from within. So we discussed this earlier. Conscious Anand Chokalingam, cardiologist in Missouri. I have wife and 2 kids, and whatever I'm doing in my life, everything I know about myself in the top 10% only that I can access right away. At the subconscious level resides 90% of who I am. The barrier ends up being the willpower and thinking. Emotions, values, habits, they're all part of the subconscious a lot of times. But what we are interested in this entire Siddha consciousness program is to understand, experience gratitude. Creativity, we don't even have to worry. It will just happen by itself. And once these two things are connected, gratitude and creativity, who we are changes at such a deep, profound level that we can experience a totally different life moving forward. And the reason for that, I'm showing you here, there are some methods through which we calculate that the conscious mind is doing great. I can probably do 40 bits of information per second. That's a lot, right? That is the mind's capacity. But the subconscious level is doing a little better, maybe a lot better. So many zeros, bits of information per second. This is the potential of the subconscious. And I'm so confident that if we don't access the entire subconscious, even if we access 1,000th of it, we'll be doing so much better than we have done so far in our life. So that's why we want to work with the Western medicines and positive psychology, whatever tools, and then we want to work with our willpower and mind, but then we want to find again and again ways to connect deeper down. That is what the whole program is about. This is what the WHO says. Majority of our diet should be complex carbohydrates and some fat, which is mostly the poly and monounsaturated types, and then proteins about 10 to 15%. This should be a healthy diet for human beings. This is what the World Health Organization says. Fruits and vegetables should be more than 400 grams a day, and free sugars we have to try and actively restrict to less than 10%. If we do this, then our health will become so natural and healthy. This is the calculations, I think, done over 50 years ago. I'm going to spend some more time on this with my research collaborators and explore whether women truly need 2,000 calories and whether men really need 2,500 calories. This is what is there in the US system, and in the Indian system, maybe a tad bit lesser, but more or less similar to this is worldwide. calculated requirements. But I'm finding for myself in the last 3 years, I'm doing really fine with much lesser food. And this is what you just heard Dr. Anuradha talk to us about. The average American, unfortunately, is now consuming quite a bit more, 25% more in the last few years. So this is not only in the US, it is happening in Europe. It's unfortunately happening in economically challenged countries. India, there are so many people who are physically hungry because they don't get enough food. In the pandemic, they're not able to go for their daily jobs. Still, we are seeing over nutrition in cities of India that is directly contributing to mortality and heart disease and diabetes and metabolic health problems. Over the last couple of decades, is only increasing dramatically. 1950 compared to the current portion in the same restaurant, we are finding food portion sizes have increased so much. It's not like human beings, our grandparents in the 1950s were not doing anything and we are doing so much more physical work. In fact, the opposite is true. We are doing much less physical work, but we are consuming more when we ask for a box of French fries or for a burger or just for a can of soda. This is what we are getting these days. 4 times more. And if we want to know what is this obesity, it becomes a direct risk for the heart for men who have a pant size of more than 40 and for women who have more than 35. Unfortunately, for friends from India and other South Asian countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, the risk is so much higher that even a waist size of 35 for men and 31 for women is considered a risk for heart disease. And when we look at target body weight, ideally less than 15 for men and women by nature, because they have childbearing and so many lifetime requirements which are different than men, their fat percentage is normally higher. So anything less than 30 is good for women and anything less than 20 for men is great. I've been doing this intermittent fasting. I can honestly look you in the eye and tell you since summer of 2018, I've been hungry for the most part. I have meals, but even afterwards, I come away from the meals most often hungry. Sometimes I feast and enjoy when I go to good friends' place or if there's a festive season, I have a really full stomach. But by and large, I've been hungry for 3 years. And still my body fat percentage, which started off at around 19%, is now down to 17%. It did not go down much because body has its own intelligence. It says, Anand, you love to play tennis. You love to bike for 2 hours. You need to take your puppy for a walk. So you need energy to be a cardiologist on top of all that. So it decides how much it needs to conserve. So you could say that from being a big SUV, my body has shrunk itself to being a small 4-cylinder hybrid car. Like that, I view myself. So with lesser and lesser food, I'm still able to do everything I want to do in the mind space and in my body, whatever it wants to do, I'm still able to accomplish. That's exactly what Dr. Anuradha from India was also saying. She's able to do all that she wants to do. So then, which diet really works? What is the secret to losing weight? There are thousands of diets that have been around in the last few decades, and now in the internet era, you will find plenty just Googling which diet to try. So I decided to go back in time to whatever evidence we have about human beings who have been around for 200,000 years. Then what about our pre-human ancestors, Homo habilis and Australopithecus afarensis? We've been around in pre-human forms for about 5 million years. And if you go back that far, you will find that we were just plant-based. And this is like deer or cow or other grazing animals. That's how we started out. And then we started adding meat about 2 million years ago. And that made us more resilient to different climate ranges. We could survive in harsher winters. And then by the time we became humans, we were comfortable with handling fire. As far as I know, there is no other life form that uses fire. Fire is there in nature, but we are the only creatures on earth that can use fire to our advantage. And the first and most important advantage was to process meat. So like other carnivores, like a tiger or a lion, we cannot just eat meat. We need to process it. And we learned it throughout our human history, how to process it by cooking. So if you go far back enough, you will find that our ancestors were mostly or 100% plant-based. And then slowly, for the last few million years, even before we became human, we've been able to process meat. And now in the last 10,000 years, when all that we know in the form of society, religion, culture, arts, all this has happened in the last 10,000 years because our attention could shift from basic survival. And we had so much free time because some of us doing farming made the rest of humanity so efficient to be able to move towards so much more that we could accomplish with our mind and our logic. So that's when grain-based eating came about and not only freed our time to create languages and create societies and big cities, it also allowed us to spend far, far lesser time eating. If we look at our cousins, monkeys, they are eating for about 8 to 10 hours a day. There are sheep and deer that graze for 14 hours a day. We need only about 20-30 minutes in a day because we are able to consume so much more efficiently that we don't need to be consuming all day long anymore. And that happened about 10,000 years ago. So this is a new study. We'll come to the present world, 2013. And this is, I think, one of the few studies that really looked at particular diets. And if you eat a Mediterranean type diet, and if you are from the Mediterranean countries like Italy, it'll definitely help you live longer. What about people who live in other parts of the world? It's not that clear that this diet works for other parts of the world. But this is what the Mediterranean diet is. It is based mostly on whole grains, quinoa, and plenty of fruits and vegetables, and olive oil, cheese, and fish, and eggs, and chicken. But this pyramid goes like this for a specific reason. If you see here, they're having this once or twice a week. This they're having only once or twice a month. They're drinking plenty of water and a little bit of wine, maybe a glass or so. Physical activity is very important. So this is how the Mediterranean diet works. And if you go there, this is what you will find on their table that they are eating. So the question is it the vegetables? Is it their olive oil? Is it the walnut? Maybe the wine resveratrol? Or is there something else? And I feel it's the something else. And the answer is the company. They take time to celebrate food. They are not measuring how much they are enjoying the process of cooking the real food at home rather than getting prepackaged things. So if we package the same things in a box, we won't get the full benefit of freshly cooking it and actually taking half an hour, not only to eat the food, but also to see if your parent or your child is liking certain things that you cook. So eating is a much broader experience than just the calories that we consume. So that is the real message that we need to embrace moving forward. This is another diet, the dietary approaches to stop hypertension. So this is pretty close to the Mediterranean, you would say, but plenty of servings of vegetables and fruits. And this is the best diet proven to reduce high blood pressure. And again, it cuts down on meat intake. So this is some more information on this. Plenty of whole grains, vegetables, fruits, and a little bit of dairy and lean meat. And this is how that would look. This is the third diet, which I feel is even more beneficial for heart patients, because atherosclerosis happens over decades. And if we want to minimize that, this diet may actually be closer to blue zones, where people live extra 10, 20 years in Okinawa, Japan, Costa Rica, and in Sardinia, Italy, where they are healthy, active, and part of their family in their 90s and 100 and 105 years of age. And probably it's because of plenty of holistic plant-based high fiber diet and much lesser of whole grains and vegetables and plenty of nuts. And most of these diets, if you eat a lot of this food, you will find you're going to be hungry quite a bit, because it doesn't have much meat and it doesn't give, I would say, enough satiety. Your stomach will be full, but in 2-3 hours, all this gets digested and you want to have more food. Being hungry is not a problem. It's actually a sign of being alive. It's a sign of being healthy. So that is what we need to reframe our subconscious mind to recognize. And there are specific dietary components that every diet may have to be looked at a little more deeper. And then to summarize, for heart disease risk reduction, diabetes reduction, for blood pressure lowering, there are some diets that are proven. But by and large, what we touched upon with plant-based, Mediterranean and DASH diets, we can get most of these benefits. But then comes the real challenge. Whatever diet I can invite you to explore, you may try it because Anand is persuasive for a week, for a month. And then what happens after 6 months? We just go back to what we like. That's who we are as human beings. 95% of people at the end of a year or two are just going to do what they did prior to today's session. Then why are we even having a session today on January 24th? To change not only your habit, but to inspire you to change from within. How to find things that are so much more fun for you. And for that, we are not talking about any diet. Now we are going to move into the subconscious space. And this is given in mindful eating literature. If you just Google mindful eating scale, this is what you will find. 10 is when you're too full. 7 is when you are satisfied. 4 is when you're feeling hungry. And if you look at the mindful eating program, they say stay between 4 and 7. And that is what is mindful eating. Mindful eating will work for people who have a BMI of 22. What about people who are BMI of 26? That is considered obesity for India. What about BMI of 31, which is considered obesity for US and most of the world? How do we get to a healthy weight? For that, eating between 4 and 7 is not going to work, unfortunately. We need to develop a healthy relationship with becoming hungry and understanding what real hunger is. And for that, we have these simple things we invite people to recognize. To find that energy, we need to find opportunities at least once or twice a day to eat with family, connect with the food preparation, and eat with gratitude. And this gratitude is not a philosophy. For in the morning and night when we go to bed, we want to connect with deep gratitude. The simplest direct way to be grateful for food is if we are hungry. That's all it is. So in the last 3 years, I can tell you honestly, I've been grateful for every meal because I've been hungry enough to sit down. What if at 12 o'clock, I don't feel hungry for lunch? I will most often avoid eating and may have that late lunch at 3 or 4 or combine my dinner and lunch at 5 p.m. That is okay. But eating when we are not hungry is sort of wasting that opportunity to be connected with ourselves. That's how this heartful living works. So generally, we don't need any drinks at all. Just water is sufficient. And as far as snacks, if you think you have some healthy snacks at home, like celery, which is negative calories, or some carrots, or if you want to have salads, or see what I'm talking about by way of snacks, you'll inside be laughing because that's not what is considered snacks. Chips and fries and everything else, I know those things are not considered healthy. So I'm not even mentioning them. So whatever you call snack, try to incorporate it into that meal that you're having. We don't have to snack per se as human beings because we've become so efficient in processing food in the last 10,000 years that didn't happen recently. Most restaurants are businesses trying to make money. So if you want health, you might have to find ways to cook food at home. And then smart choices you have to make when you're paying for groceries in the grocery store. The simple thing to remember is 90 or 95% of things that are sold in our grocery stores are unhealthy. It is not because the store is trying to make us unhealthy. They are trying to sell. So they are selling what is needed by the consumer. So as a consumer, if we start becoming more careful and picking the right healthy, nutritional food at the store, basically getting the 5 or 10% that is healthy in that store, over the next 6 months to 1 year, our grocery stores will stock more and more healthy things. So 3 years from today, I'll come and tell you that 50% of the things available in the grocery store are healthy, but that will not happen by the grocery store. It will have to happen from the transformation of the individual consumer. So eat slow. This is very, very important. Take 20 minutes to have a meal. If you don't have 20 minutes, it's okay to not eat at all. Drink some water and go on being busy. When you are hungry enough, when you need the food, when you have a chance to prepare it, it might be prepared 4 days ago. You might have stored it in your freezer or in your refrigerator. But if you had prepared it, you can then warm it up, and then you can find that 20 minutes to sit down. Hopefully with some family or friends, or otherwise even by yourself. You can use this as a time to be connected. And then on average, we are having 40 meals a week. That's because between 5 and 6 meals every day is what most people in the world are now consuming. We want to bring it down by more than 50%. We want to bring it down to 16 to 18 or 19 meals a week. So basically 2 to 3 meals on average. That includes all our snacks and all our drinks, or what drinks it's hard to find healthy things, but we want to bring all of that into those 1 or 2 or 3 meals. So that is what we are really talking about. Okay, so this slide itself summarizes the entire 8-week series. If we can adopt 50% of what is said here in the next 1 or 2 years, our health is going to become so much more better. This is my wife Smrita and my daughter. Now she is taller than my wife. So this picture was taken in the summer of 2018 when we were in Slovenia hiking. The guide who took us for 1 hour, I asked him where we are going. He pointed to the tip of the mountain and said, that's where we are headed. I thought he was joking. We are not that fit to hike, but that's where he really took us. And this is the view from right up there. And it was breathtaking because we had spent 5 hours hiking and reaching up there. That ownership for that, if I had landed there on a helicopter, it won't feel that great. But because we had put full energy and trying to survive that hike, it was such an exhilarating experience to be there. The reason I'm sharing that story is because this is Timo. He is a Slovenian guide, but he trained for 8 years to be a chef. And he gave up that being a high-paying chef job in a poor country called Slovenia to be a tour guide, which is paying him much, much lesser. Why? Because he connected with himself at a deeper level and said, my life is more fulfilled when I'm outdoors in nature. He's never had any religious affiliation for several generations. This is former Yugoslavia, part of the Soviet Union. And then he's not yet been on an aeroplane, not because he's a policy against it, but he's coming from a poor background where he just cannot afford to get on a plane. And he doesn't yet have any savings at the age of 28 when I met him. And he had just lost his only child at the age of 4 months because of a congenital problem. And still he was smiling. And what I'm actually showing you here is myself with him. I wish he didn't wear a full sleeve because he's 3 times more muscular than I was. At this point, Anand was 45 years of age and not missed a single meal, which means 3 times a day I've had food 45 years of my life. But the reason his story is so profound is he can do 6 peaks like that in the next 2 hours. He's that fit and he eats only 1 or 2 meals every day. That was the mind-blowing aspect of his philosophy. He says people are taking food for granted all over because they are buying food with money. That is true for most of us. Most of us are not directly fishing or hunting or doing agriculture. We are just paying money for food and we don't realize how valuable the food that we eat is. And then he wants to show people how to understand life through eating. And he's making 1/3 of that money as a tour guide, but his life is so fulfilled. That's his true story. And after meeting him, the next day, I looked within and said, why don't I learn from somebody who's 15, 20 years younger than me and try to eat a little lesser? I don't need 3 meals if I'm not doing as much outdoors work as he is. So that's where my journey started. Father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, said the exact same thing. There is no prayer without fasting and no fasting without prayer. God comes to the hungry in the form of food. Such a simple, profound message. And there are so many ways of fasting, but our cardiac patients find what works for them out of their own inner energy. So none of these things matter. What we need to recognize is we want to minimize emotional craving, which is because stress, anxiety, worries, all of that is part of our modern social life. We want to minimize eating out of that. And this is what we end up eating if we eat out of emotion. 45 years of my life, I ate out of habit, which means 9 o'clock breakfast, 12 o'clock lunch, 7 p.m. dinner. After that, I gave up habitual eating. So I've never had the challenge of coping with emotional eating. In the last 3 years, no more habitual eating. So how am I eating? when I'm actually truly physically hungry. And this really allows us to celebrate healthy things. Otherwise, it's not that easy for us to go towards healthy food. And the simple reason is these fast foods are meant to gratify not only our satiety, but also our mind 5 times more than true whole health foods. So you will have more fun with cookie and ice cream than you can ever have with what you're seeing in this picture. But this is the real nourishing, nutritive components that we need in our diet. So if we are hungry for 5 minutes, 10 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes before lunch, or 30 minutes before dinner, what we are quickly drawn towards is what's available, right? When we pay $1 and get this food. But if we are truly hungry for a couple of hours in the morning or in the afternoon, or again and again for every meal, then comes the meditation. The meditation is not something we have to sit down and do. We practice so much of sitting meditation, but this hunger gratitude, today we will not spend even a minute meditating, because we are talking about connecting with hunger, which I feel is the most basic way of meditating. So I want you to experience this starting today for the next whole week. I can request you to do this because I woke up very hungry today morning. Last night's dinner was plenty of fruits and vegetables. So that made me very hungry by 5 a.m. when I woke up. 6 o'clock I came to work. Now it's 9 o'clock. So I've been hungry for the last 4 hours. 2 hours I've been seeing patients. I'm going to go back seeing patients all day today. And either at 3 or 5 or whatever time I get a break from work, I'll go home and have my lunch or dinner or whatever. But I'm so confident I'll be fine through the day. So that is what I invite you to explore. If you have type 1 diabetes or type 2 diabetes on a lot of insulin and have hypoglycemia risk, or if you have an eating disorder, or if you're pregnant, or if you have advanced liver issues, then fasting is not for you. But otherwise, being hungry, most human beings are able to do that fine. And we've been able to do that even before for millions and millions of years, because nature did not give us this much access to food except in the last 50 years. So I showed you this hunger gratitude scale. I've now invited you to connect with 3, 2, what about 1? In summer of 2018, I went into 1. But now if I go for 20, 30, 40 hours, I still probably won't even go into 1, because I know how to truly relate with being grateful, relax, smile, and I have plenty of water at hand. Today morning, I had 2 big glasses, so you could say close to 800 ml or even 1000 ml of water I had today morning. That's all I had. So just that water, and I'm working. It's not relaxing means sitting around. I'm seeing patients, taking care of critically ill people, and still able to stay in this meditative. Today, I'm able to do this. And I'm not going to faint. I don't think anything serious will happen, because we are able to connect at a deeper level through natural ketosis. So now I don't even go to 1. So if I'm fasting all day today and even tomorrow, I'll go only up to 2 or 3, and then I'll quickly switch into ketosis. It's not a logical switch. It happens intuitively. I told you the subconscious can do it if you give it relaxation and water. So this natural ketosis is where the self-inquiry happens. I thought people lose weight, and only because they've lost weight, their heart health has become so better. They are 20, 30 years younger is what they come back and tell me. But then the process of getting there through meditation and this ketosis itself may contribute separately, apart from the weight loss. So this is the BMI scale. And these are monkeys that have shown that this works. How these monkeys show this is both the monkeys are sort of old age, but this one is looking so much younger because for a few years it's been taking a 30% calorie cut. And there is 90% reduction in cancer and heart disease. And as far as diabetes and blood pressure and cholesterol issues, it is 100% reduced when a monkey takes 30% calorie restriction. It just doesn't get old. It just is not dying. So if it works for monkeys, then you may ask, does it work for other life forms? It works for every animal form, from bacteria to monkeys and mice and rats and dogs. And it also works for human beings. This has been published 2 years ago. Calorie 2 is the name of the study. Healthy BMI 35. Oh, no, BMI is 25. Age is 35. And by taking a 25% calorie cut for 2 years, BMI drops down to 22. And the biology For a normal blood pressure, it goes to even more normal. For normal metabolic diabetic risk, it goes even lower. So basically, a 35-year-old becomes like a 28-year-old, 6-7 years age reduction by taking a 25% calorie restriction, even if you're normal weight and eating normal diet. So for people who have excess weight, the benefit is going to be even more. That's what we want to emphasize. But you cannot just stop eating. We need some calories, and we will improve our health and longevity when we take calorie restriction. And we can do it through fasting and meditation. That's what we do. So this is a patient who did it for 50 days. That's not what we recommend. At most, we recommend only 24 hours. But for him, the cup half full, half empty does not even arise. He is in such deep meditation because he is fasting. And this is his story. And there are so many people. This is amazing because he did not go through gastric bypass. That is why you see this much weight reduction. He lost 30% weight despite his liver failing, and he cannot even fast. So he's only eating healthy and having 3 meals and understanding how to be hungry in a meditative way. At 82 years of age, this is 2019. 2020, 2021, he's become even thinner and even more energetic. So that's what's going on. We can regain so much health. This, we just published these stories. This patient, unfortunately, was hospitalized in our own university hospital for 15 times within a 1-year time span. This is a medical health record showing the weight in the y-axis and time in the x-axis. She learned our program and has not been in this hospital for 10 months, even once. Medicines are the same, but her diet, she's learned how to be grateful and eat lesser and healthier. And she has lost about 15% weight. People with diabetic medicines, we have to be careful. We'll keep that for another day. But people who wish to become more athletic, or who want to just lose weight, or who have children at home they want to inspire, or just get rid of unhealthy habits, they can learn these methods. These are foods that we generally want to stay away from. And white salt, white sugar, white rice, white bread, all this we want to minimize. So most things that taste healthy, we have to limit. We don't have to give up anything. We have to move more and more towards healthier options. I asked my professor and mentor, Dr. Pandian, and he helped me write a paper saying insulin resistance itself is a myth. It's only excess weight that is causing majority of type 2 diabetes. And I asked him, what do you eat? He answered by sending us these pictures. This is what he's having. And he says, I can have 5-6 meals a day. But this is what it is, mostly healthy Indian food that he ends up eating. And a little bit of tea and mostly plant-based milk he has. And this is his entire day's worth of food. So he says, I'm never hungry and I'm not taking any diabetic medicines because I'm eating what I need to nourish my body in a healthy way. And this is the entire dietary recommendation that he has given us to try and embrace. But he's shown it in pictures, so you already saw what he's actually eating. So this is what I remind patients: if we have lesser meals in a day, we are going to get so much metabolic health. And this is from the most recent cardiology guidelines. We want to reduce inflammation and cholesterol, and the best way to do that may be to cut down on all forms of processed red and organ meat, as well as anything that tastes good. Cookies, donuts, ice cream, all the refined sugars and beverages that have sugar added. And then the things to really focus on is vegetables, vegetables, and vegetables, green and yellow dark vegetables, and then whole grains, and avocado and walnut ends up being the most nutritious fat because it's poly and monounsaturated. And protein, you can get plenty from vegetables, from lentils, black beans, red beans. They are like $1 cans in Walmart you can get. And tofu and soy, they are also excellent source of protein. So finally, I want to leave you with this. What are we most grateful for? That is what is the Siddha self-inquiry. When we are grateful for something particular and experience it, we know what the experience is. It's not something we tell somebody, what we experience within. When we have that gratitude, dealing with stress is so easy and it builds optimism. When we are grateful, we can directly look at hunger, not for days or weeks. We can look at it for years and for a lifetime. That is what so many heart patients in Missouri are showing us, that they have developed a true and deep relationship with themselves using the path of gratitude and hunger. That itself is meditation that deepens our mind-body connection, reduces our metabolic risk, and our heart will thank us for it. And this is the simple program. And we've, Dr. Anuradha said she is doing intermittent fasting, but the truth is she is doing self-inquiry and meditation using Siddha consciousness. That's what she is doing. So the health benefits for heart attack and cancer and dementia, everybody gets if they can do 24 hours once a week if we don't eat, and for 14 hours every night if we don't eat, we'll get those benefits. But if we want the true holistic benefits, we just have to add gratitude and smiling. That's all is Siddha fasting. When you do the Siddha fast, what happens is your mind opens up. Your consciousness is able to become so much more resilient to COVID or any other new challenge the world will throw at us. We become happy, compassionate from within. Here we accept hunger gratefully, and we can take a deeper calorie cut if we need to lose excess weight. And all of this without any monitoring, without Fitbit to tell us we've taken 10,000 steps or calorie counting for 2,000 calories, this much salt. None of that we need. We can get here where we want to be. We can obviously live 100 years or much longer, but more importantly, we will feel genuinely alive and connected with our life if we can embrace these simple hunger gratitude methods. I told you my conflict of interest is the same website, highlifejourney.org, where all these lectures we post, the advanced high life of 2021, the regular 8-week series, all of that is available. We have the course that we do for physicians to avoid burnout. Everything we place it there for free. Anyone can view it at High Life Journey. And this is what I'm so proud to now start getting associated with, Potluck. It is a platform that is going to come live in the next, actually you can just Google onepotluck.com and you can sign up as a beta where you will get a login, I guess. But in the next few weeks, they're going to open it up for more and more work that they are going to start in Savannah, Georgia. But because I'm getting involved, I've requested them to start it in Colombia. My vision is to make Missouri in the top 20, whereas currently Missouri is ranking 42 among the US 50 states. We want to really get health for Missouri so that our communities will thrive economically as well as health-wise. Once our health improves, the economy of Missouri will get so much better. And this platform is about healthy foods and so many things they are trying to market. But when I ask the people behind this, I'm trying to ask people to fast. You're trying to promote a website that is about marketing food. How can I contribute to you? They were so genuine. They said, Anand, you teach what you feel is healthy for your community. In this platform, we will stick with those holistic health concepts. So this is so nice when a company that is building a platform to market, they are saying we will place health of our community first. So it's going to come live pretty soon, but you can already sign up and start exploring what they are up to. This High Life Journey has been around for 2 years, so you can get all those lectures. This current series will post it in the next few weeks, but prior to that, everything is available. So this picture I showed you of our puppy last year, January 1st, he came home. His name is Kulfi. So in the cage, that's how we are in our consciousness. We are comfortable at home, but if we go out, even in the winter, we can find the world is so vast. So it's symbolic of our consciousness, how we can explore outside the confines of whatever biases and boxes that we create for ourselves, our consciousness, we can expand. And my request to you is to expand it through your own inquiry of whether you're truly physically hungry, not just emotionally eating or habitually eating, and then physical hunger, and then how to be grateful at the same time. So that is what we invite you to explore Siddha fasting and consciousness through. And this is not just a experience outside, it is a physical experience. What I mean by that is consciousness has to be explored in movement. So that movement, this puppy is now grown up, but that movement our body needs. So that's what we're going to talk about next session, how to embrace exercise holistically. And it can be done by everybody. We had 85-year-old heart patients with only one leg and a stroke who are doing this Siddha, hunger, gratitude, and they're exercising. So there is no age limit to self-inquiry. So we'll explore more and more of these concepts in the next few weeks. It's already 10 o'clock. So this we will I guess I should just quickly touch upon this concept of flow, where the skills, as we are more and more skilled, say for tennis, that when the challenge is higher, there is a chance of entering into flow. This concept we need to spend much more time on. But I wanted to tell you that Tirukkural 2000 years ago invites us to experience flow through hunger. So all of this is things that I think we need to dedicate some more time to go through this. So I'll bring these slides back for our next session and we'll start off there. So exercise is how we taught flow for the last 5 years. Now we are inviting people to experience flow just through the hunger gratitude philosophy. So I leave you with that thought to explore. You can find 100 different things. So next Monday, my request to you will be to come back with a couple of things. It need not be hunger. It need not be gratitude. It can be gardening. It can be playing golf, or it can be just watching the sunset. You come back and tell me, Anand, I'm able to connect with myself a little deeper and feel happy. So the things that you cannot do to experience flow, my request to you is to minimize watching television, even if it is sports on television. It should be sports that you take up and play. So that is where you can enter into flow, not by watching on television, not by doing even chores. You can do it with gratitude and experience flow, but we'll talk about it some more. But try to engage with walking or some simple things that you can do safely and connect with yourself. But this flow we just showed you here can be experienced just through hunger and gratitude also. So we'll stop here for today, and I can be around for a little longer, no worries. But some of these
Dr.
slides we'll discuss once again. So people who wish to have quick 5-minute question answers, we'll talk for 5 more minutes, and then I'll be here later. I will turn off the recording and we'll chat for another few minutes. 5 minutes of quick question answers.
Dr. Chankalingam, can you hear me?
Yes, Linda.
I'm so sorry. I just tuned in, so I missed your whole talk this morning. Is there any resources you could recommend where I could kind of catch up on what you were
Sure,
saying?
you shoot me an email and I'll send you these slides as a PDF, and this lecture, I can send it to you. This 1 hour session recording, I'll send it to you. That's not a problem.
Thank you so much. I will do that. So I go to the chat to do that.
I'll put my email address here, so you can just send me an email. Put my email address in there.
Can I don't see how to do that. Can I just put my email in the chat?
I won't be able to access it from here.
You have
Why don't you hang around for 5 more minutes? We'll chat some more about this.
Okay,
some other
great.
quick question answers before we turn off the recording?
Yes, Dr. Anand, thank you very much. And it was very, very informative. I really appreciate it. I just have a quick question. How do we control or even totally stop munching on snacks?
We have to make a commitment that today I want to be a little more hungry while I'm smiling. That is such a deep commitment that you will look at the chips or snacks and you will not want it for the next couple of weeks. You can try it and then it will become your nature. Now, when I see food, I'm actually more comfortable fasting because that actually reassures me, okay, the food is nearby, I can have it whenever, but then I can prolong the fasting if I wish to even longer. So there's it's just like cigarettes. I tell my patients you don't have to throw away your cigarettes. You keep the cigarette at home, you just look at it. It's not going to hurt you. The problem is only when you take it, put it in your mouth and light it. As long as you don't light it, it can stay there. Like that. This is a much deeper self-inquiry. I'm glad you raised that question. This snacking won't even be an issue for you once you connect a little more deeper with yourself. That's what we want to encourage, because if you change the diet because Anand is asking you to eat this and lose that much weight and control your blood pressure, all that you will do for a few months, and then people will just revert back to their original ways. For Dr. Anuradha, I don't think ever she's going to be worried about munching. She may have plenty of snacks, but then she knows she can go back to being hungry and celebrating life from within. That is what it is.
Okay, thank you. Got it.
Five more minutes of quick question answers, and then we'll turn off the recording.
So as I kind of think about my takeaway, I guess I see understanding the connection with hunger and our natural instincts is key to being more mindful with how we interact with food.
Perfect. I can't say it any better. Quick suggestions, thoughts, 1-minute interactions before we turn off the recording.
Lisa put a question in chat.
I had missed earlier 2 sessions. Can I get the recording? Sure. What does the acronym HUGE stand for? Hunger, Gratitude, Experience. So the experience is separate. We are experiencing life at different levels. Logically, symbolically, through words, we are experiencing it. But at the subconscious level, the logical mind will not like us when we don't give the food. The logical mind is about eating and connecting directly, immediate gratification. It's the subconscious which has the power to understand profoundly this self-inquiry. So because we are doing the self-inquiry through hunger, gratitude, it only makes it more connected, all these things. So hunger and gratitude experience, that's what it means. The huge Siddha fasting.
I have a quick, just a comment. I checked out this website, onepotluck.com. This is Kathy Rogers. Excellent website. A lot of great information and great ideas. I will use this. I work at Preferred Family Healthcare up here in Kirksville, Missouri, and deal a lot with, I'm in the healthcare home program, and deal a lot with clients that have mental issues and substance use disorders and a lot of diabetics. So I will use this website in some of my little programs we present to them. So great information.
Excellent, Kathy. The reason I'm actually going to spend quality time working with the Potluck platform is because when I say cook at home, it's not easy for many of my heart patients to cook at home because they get packaged foods, they are older, they are challenged in their kitchen. But if we can make healthy food from close by available to them in a reliable way, that's going to make them so much healthier, more than the medicines that we can give them. So through this platform, I'm hoping in the next 1 to 2 years, we can actually really make Missouri so much healthier. That's why I'm involved with them.
You guys have a great farmers market down there in Columbia. I have been to it before, and it is wonderful.
Yeah.
And I did not realize it was year round. But a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables and beef that's raised right here in Missouri, and grain fed, and some of the chicken that's free range chicken. So my granddaughter works at Pasta La Fata and do a lot of the Italian foods and stuff. So very
this
nice.
platform, this platform is not yet actively doing much. So you can sign up there so that once they get more and more availabilities, they'll email you. Right now you can sign up. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
As a cardiologist, I can do research, I can do these things and publish, and other doctors will slowly recognize. But through these type of direct to the public systems, I feel our ability to reach and influence health is going to be so much better. That's why I'm so excited about this platform.
Yes, and you show your excitement, which is great. That makes us excited.
Excellent. I'm going to turn off the recording and then we can continue.